Hey, welcome to your other day of class that's going to be in the video for sports entertainment marketing and online. Today we will be doing a chapter 2 assessment to get ready for the test tomorrow. I'm going to be giving you a bit of a review today to fill you in on what to study for. Your test will be 12 questions of true and false. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 questions of multiple choice. And you'll also have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12 questions of fill in the blank. And then you'll have 6 short answer questions, which require you to answer 3 of them. You may choose to answer the other 3 if you want to be counted as bonus points. And then there's also essay questions that are on there. 3 essay questions. You have requirement to only answer 1 of them. On your test, some things starting with chapter 2.1 on page 32. Some things that you'll want to know for true and false. Multiple choices. Whether ticket sales in the U.S. for movies have either increased or decreased each year. What percentage of movies actually make a profit? What does the word profit mean? What does the word revenue mean? What is the average cost of marketing a film cost? Is it 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, or the entire cost of producing a film? On page 33 is profit motive. What does profit motive mean? And how many teams in the NFL will total revenue be shared with pertaining to profit motive? Another question that you'll need to know from cultural opportunities is, does movies need to be distributed worldwide, or should they be housed just domestically in the U.S. only in order to make a profit? So is worldwide distribution vital, or is it not vital? Okay, turning to page 34, know what the term economics means and the difference between macro and micro. Macro is the study of the entire society, and micro is between the individual consumer and producer. You also need to know what the word economic utility means. Economic utility is the satisfaction a person receives from consumption of a product or service. You'll also need to know the different types of utility, which is form, when the physical characteristics of a product are improved. There's also the time utility, the result of making the product or service available when a consumer wants it. There's also place utility, ensures the product or service is available when the consumer wants it. And there's also possession utility, results from making the product or service available at an affordable price. Going to chapter 2.2, we'll be talking about the risk and risk management. Know what the term risk means and the categories of risk. Natural risk is weather conditions that can't be avoided, such as tornadoes, blizzards, hurricanes, floods, droughts, ice storms, those sort of things. And then know what a human risk is. Human risk can be from customer dishonesty, employee theft, employee incompetence, which means they don't know what they're doing when they're working. Customers using bad checks, writing bad checks, or credit card fraud. So those are some things of the human risk. And then there is also economic risk. Economic risk is faced by business due to changes in the business environment, such as the economy. Now there's 3 additional types of risk. Additional types of risk are gain or loss risk, which happens that if you put on a sporting event or put on a dance, you have the opportunity to either make money or lose money, so that's a gain or loss. The outcome is not known, so it's called a speculative risk, or also known as a speculative risk, where it can result in either a gain or a loss. There is a controllable risk, which means a loss can be prevented and the likelihood of its occurrence reduced. So having a fire in the school There are fire signs, there are fire sprinklers, there are fire sirens. So that is the controllable risk. They control the amount of damage from a fire. And there's uncontrollable risk, which would be if a tornado came through and swept up your school, which would be an uncontrollable risk. You can't do anything to prevent that. Another risk is called an insurable risk. Insurable risk is a pure risk in which the chances of loss are predicted and the amount of loss can be estimated. So if you insure your car, you're insuring that risk, so your car is worth a value, it's predictable value, and if you were to total your car out, that amount of loss can be estimated. And then there's also an uninsurable risk. Let's say the Minnesota Twins, who are doing horribly right now, have a 10-game losing streak. They can't insure the risk of loss of ticket sales or a losing season or loss of revenue. They can't insure that. So that is an uninsurable risk. Risk retention, know that term. Preventing, reducing, and lessening the negative impacts of risk by using strategies to avoid that risk. One of those strategies is called risk avoidance. Risk avoidance is trying to avoid that risk by doing, like if you're going to hire security personnel, you don't want security personnel that have a violent history. You want security personnel that have a professional history. So how would you try to avoid that risk is by performing background checks, not taking the appropriate steps to avoid the crime in your area, such as those things. Know what the word liable means? It means a business is legally responsible for damages. They might have to pay for medical costs or losses suffered by an injured person. When I worked at Staples in Minot, I was the salt guy that had to put salt out on the sidewalk. And our manager was so uptight about having salt on the sidewalk whenever it would snow or if it was raining out and it would freeze. So I asked him why, and he said, well, because we're simply liable. If you were to walk in and you slip on the ice, fall backwards, crack your head open, and break your neck, Staples would be liable for that because they're on their property. Now, is it a full liability? No, because you can take a risk insurance. Risk insurance pays for a predictable loss. How do you have risk insurance? You would have risk insurance such as property insurance, liability insurance, or theft insurance. In order to obtain this insurance, you must pay a premium. The premium is the cost of insurance in form of payment. So if it were to cost $100 a month for insurance, it would be that way. Risk transfer is another one. So you may transfer the risk to someone else. I'm going to shut the door, Joey. You may transfer the risk to someone else, saying if you go to a Twins game or let's say a UND Sioux hockey game, on the back of your ticket stub it says that you are responsible for any injuries, whatever, that Ralph Finkelstedt Arena or the Fighting Sioux hockey team is not responsible for flying pucks that if you were to take a puck to the face, only yourself would be liable because they have transferred that risk over. And it talks about risk retention. Risk retention is an uninsurable risk that must consume the cost of the risk. If you have a theater and you show a movie and that movie has very bad reviews, there's no other way to put that risk onto someone else or have that risk insured. So if that movie has bad reviews, no one likes to see that movie, that is a risk that you're going to take, and you have to retain that risk. So you can't put that on anybody else. Chapter 2.4 talks about ethics. There's not a whole lot of questions on the test about ethics at all. Let's see. What does ethical behavior involve? That's one question. Most of the questions are about risk. There are only about 2 questions about ethics. What does the term ethics mean? I highlight that in my book. ethics are the system of deciding what is right and wrong in partial or impartial manner. And that's about it for that question, or for that section. Financial analysis. What is the main reason for doing business? What is a return on investment? You'll have to know what that is. What is a forecast? What is a budget? What is on a balance sheet? What are the elements that are included on the balance sheet and the elements that are on the income statement? That is a short answer question right there, and that is 2 more questions within the chapter. Okay, so that's kind of a chapter review. For your chapter 2 assessment, I'm going to have you do questions 1 through 14, 1 through 15, 17, 18, 19, and 24. And I'll write that into the post on the website as well. If any questions, email me at christopher.r.pederson@gmail.com. Be prepared to take the test during class time tomorrow. What you're going to do is you're going to upload this test from the website, and then you'll also take the test and then put it into Google Docs and share it with me. So if any questions, send me an email.